Hey, ScytherGreen here from Server 73. Welcome back to Skill School, Episode 7. Today we're looking at Wisdom, one of the earliest passives you'll unlock from Magic Immortals. It gives a clean magical attack boost. No conditions, no downtime, just a steady stat increase working quietly behind the scenes. Sounds like a smart pick. It's even called Wisdom. But don't let the name fool you. In this game, raw stats aren't always the cleverest path forward. And sometimes, being wise just means knowing when to move on. Let's break it down. So, what does Wisdom actually do? Wisdom is a passive skill. Always active, no triggers, no animations, no conditions. Once it's equipped, it's working every round of every battle.
It unlocks as soon as you unlock the Tower of Knowledge, and only costs 500 soul crystals to get started, making it one of the most accessible skills in the game.
There's no position restrictions, no role requirements. If your immortal deals magical damage, they can equip it. What it does is simple. It increases your magical attack stat by 18%, right out of the gate. And if you upgrade it all the way to level 8, that boost climbs to 60%. That bonus doesn't just apply to ultimates. It boosts any source of damage that scales from magical attack. That includes normal attacks from Magic Immortals and active skills. If the damage is calculated using your magical attack stat, Wisdom is making it hit harder. But whether it's worth keeping long-term? That depends on who you're running it on, and how far into the game you are. Let's go over 3 immortals who gain clear value from Wisdom: Cleopatra, Merlin, and Hammurabi. Cleopatra's ultimate, Entangling Snakes, deals magical damage to all enemies and reduces the magical damage output of 2 enemy immortals with the highest magical attack. The damage portion scales directly from her magical attack stat, while the debuff effect is fixed and not influenced by Wisdom. When Wisdom is equipped, it increases Cleopatra's base magical attack, which causes the initial hit to deal more damage across the board. Merlin's ultimate, Prophecy, is also an AoE skill. It deals magical damage to all enemies, and the damage increases by 50% if the enemy is chilled. The entire scaling, both the base and the bonus from chill, comes from his magical attack stat. Wisdom raises that stat, which means the damage dealt by Prophecy increases accordingly, including when the chill bonus is active. Hammurabi's Final Judgment deals magical damage to all enemies, starting from a fixed base percentage and increasing by an additional 15% per debuff on each target. The total damage output still relies on Hammurabi's magical attack stat. Wisdom increases that stat, which makes each portion of the damage, both the base and the per debuff bonus, deal more. Wisdom is available to all immortals, but its effect only applies if the immortal uses magical attack as their primary damage scaling stat. So that means, if equipped on a physical damage dealer, the bonus will have no effect. One of the trickiest things about Wisdom is that it gives you no feedback. No icon in battle, nothing in the replay, and it doesn't show up in the post-fight report. If you're just looking at visuals, it feels like it's not doing anything at all. But the numbers tell a different story. Here's a clean test using Merlin and his ultimate Prophecy. In the first battle, no Wisdom equipped, he cast Prophecy 5 times and dealt 1,455,765 total damage. That's an average of 291,153 per hit, with no crits. Now compare that to the second test, this time with level 6 Wisdom equipped, giving plus 48% magical attack. Merlin cast Prophecy 6 times. 2 of those casts crit for 450,313 each. His total damage from Prophecy jumped to 2,152,811.
Even factoring out the crits in the extra cast, the average damage still increased, up to 313,046 per hit. That's a jump of nearly 22,000 per cast, just from boosting the magical attack stat. Same immortal, same skill, same comp. The only difference was 1 passive slot, and it made every single cast hit harder. That's how you confirm Wisdom is working. You don't look for effects, you look at the output. If the immortal is magic-based, the difference will show on the damage chart. Now let's talk about where Wisdom fits in the long term, and when it's time to move on. Wisdom boosts our magical attack stat. That stat feeds directly into your immortal skill damage. So if you start with 2,000 magical attack and equip max level Wisdom, you're looking at 3,200 instead. Everything that scales from that stat hits harder, whether it's your ultimate, your normal attack, or a triggered passive like Meteor. But eventually, you unlock Concentration, and that's a different kind of boost altogether. Concentration doesn't touch your stats. It multiplies the final magical damage output.
the actual number that lands after all your scaling has been applied. It doesn't matter whether your magical attack is high or low. Concentration just takes the total and turns it up. And it works across the board. Ultimates, auto attacks, passives, anything that's magic gets multiplied. This makes concentration much more powerful in the long term, especially as your account progresses. Once your tower levels and gear start pushing your magical attack higher by default, the value you get from flat scaling, like wisdom, starts to fall off. At that point, a final damage multiplier just gives you more for every hit. So here's what that means if you're free to play. Wisdom is absolutely worth unlocking. It's cheap, it's effective early on, and it gives you a solid power bump when your team needs it most. But you don't need to take it all the way. Level 4 of 5 is enough. Beyond that, the soul crystal cost climbs fast, and the returns don't keep up. Once you unlock better passives, like concentration, wisdom drops out of rotation completely. Use it as a stepping stone, not a long-term core. So, where does wisdom land? Honestly, it's a C-tier skill. And that's not an insult. It's just where it belongs. It does exactly what it promises. Wisdom gives a flat magical attack boost with no conditions, making it a simple and effective early game skill, especially for free-to-play players. However, it doesn't scale or stack, and quickly becomes obsolete once you unlock better passives like Ignite or Concentration. It's best used as a temporary damage boost. Unlock it, level it to 4 or 5, and replace it when stronger options become available. Now, I want to hear from you. Did wisdom stick around longer than you expected? Did you level it all the way and regret it? Or did it carry you through your early arena matches? And who do you think benefits most? Merlin? Hammurabi? Someone else? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how it played out in your March. If this episode helped, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you in Norheim.